What's up, Ragin Nation? How's it going? This is Alex Yu, and you're watching the TF Movie Show. This is just a web series where we're talking about the Transformers film franchise. This is episode number 77, and yes, that's right, you heard right. This is the Transformers Movie Show. This is the web series that I've been doing before I started the Road to Beast Wars. And, well, the Road to Beast Wars is a web series about the production of Transformers Rise of the Beast. And strictly Transformers Rise of the Beast. The TF Movie Show, on the other hand, is about other Transformers films, as well as talking about the previous Transformers films. So that's why I want to keep this web series around, in case that I want to talk about or have topics about upcoming Transformers films that aren't called Transformers Rise of the Beasts. So we got some stuff to talk about, and we're going to jump right into it. And that is, I am looking at an interview from producer Lorenzo de Bonaventura, who's been around for all the Transformers live action films as well as the G.I. Joe films. And on this interview from MovieWeb that came out on July 21st, 2021, he was talking about a G.I. Joe and Transformers crossover. Now, this was something that was actually talked about in the past, but there was really no light given to it. But the topic is on again, and it's simply because, well, he's the producer of two mega franchises, right? Or at least two franchises based off a toy line from Hasbro, so it's going to be talked about, of course. Transformers and G.I. Joe crossover is inevitable, says producer, and that is the headline. So here's a quote from him. You know, the truth of the matter is the studio has always been against that. Every regime that's been at Paramount is against it because it's taking two franchises and making them one, but I think it's inevitable. I do think it's inevitable. I just think that we haven't run out of storytelling yet to require us to put them together in a sense. I don't know about you, but Alien vs. Predator, in a way, besmirched both of them. I'm an old-timer. I learned the lessons. Yeah, I think it's a possibility. There's no doubt about that. It comes up almost every single time we start to debate what the next script is in either one of them. Then it gets pushed aside. Then it'll come up again. Well, it's funny, Stephen Caple, who's directing Transformers right now, is a huge G.I. Joe fan too. And he was like, why aren't you doing that? Everyone was like, well, try to make a Transformers movie really good, then we'll talk about that. Maybe Stephen will be the one to crack through because he loves them both so much. So what we gather here is, well, Stephen Caple Jr., who's directing Transformers Rise of the Beast, he's a fan of both Transformers and G.I. Joe, and would love to direct G.I. Joe. I guess he would be perfect for the G.I. Joe Transformers crossover. And Lorenzo de Bonaventura says that G.I. Joe Transformers crossover is inevitable. And what it essentially means is that at some point in time in the near or distant future, Transformers will eventually cross over in live action, as they have in comics. However, that's not on the cards right now, and won't be on the cards right now for Paramount Pictures for a very, very, very long time. And the reason why is, just as he explained, is that they haven't run out of ideas yet. Okay? The only reason why they did Aliens vs. Predator is because they totally ran out of ideas, and they decided, you know what, let's just put the two together and just make it happen. It didn't really work, and that's why they're back to making Predator movies again, and it still doesn't work. So, crossing over, it sounds interesting. In fact, they could totally make it work. In my opinion, when I really think about what they would do with it, they could totally make it work. All you gotta do is make the first film, like the very first Transformers 2007, and rename Tyrese as Roadblock, and rename Josh Duhamel's character as Duke. Now you suddenly have a Transformers film, Transformers G.I. Joe crossover. It's not difficult to do, to be completely honest. It'll be expensive because now you have all these crazy looking vehicles, but it's not impossible. And at some point in time, when they've completely run out of ideas, and both franchises start going downhill, and they feel like they need to inject new life into it, then they'll make it. So I won't say it's impossible. He won't say it's impossible, but it's definitely a possibility. It's just not happening for a very, very long time, especially if Transformers Rise of the Beast is successful, and as well as if the next couple of films that come out later on is successful. If it's successful, don't fix it. It ain't broken, okay? In fact, that is pretty much, if Transformers Rise of the Beast is successful, that's their fix for Transformers Last Night. So they're going to keep on going. It's only when the box office starts plateauing or starts going down a bit, then they'll decide, okay, maybe we should cross over with G.I. Joe. Because, well, I don't know if you don't already know, Snake Eyes was a box office bomb, and it also wasn't a very good film. Okay, I still have to do my review for it on my other channel, Ragin Review. And the first two G.I. Joe films were okay at best to not so good. Okay, or not very good to bad, okay? So they weren't able to really make as much money on the same level as Transformers film if we're talking Hasbro toy films, you know what I'm saying? So, maybe if they are to ever make a G.I. Joe movie ever again, then it will probably be a crossover with Transformers, which is a really completely ludicrous and ridiculous idea, but it can still happen, and like I said before, it can totally work. It can totally work, and it won't be that hard to do. You just gotta rename the human characters as Joe names, and rename, like, evil human characters as Cobra names, and there you have it. Okay? So that's that. Okay, now let's just let's step back a moment and let's talk about a movie that is or isn't happening. I don't really know, but I'm leaning towards no. But that's the Transformers Last Night sequel. Okay, Rise of Unicron. I mean, no, there's a fan film called Rise of Unicron, but Transformers Last Night didn't get a follow-up or isn't getting a follow-up. But I just want to go back to some articles, and then I'm going to talk to you about this new article that I came across, and that is, okay, this is a MovieWeb article back in March 17, 2019. This is 2 years ago. 2 years ago, around this time. Transformers Last Night sequel is still being planned. Okay? That was back in March of 2 years ago, 2019. And I'm going to read you what the article says. Bumblebee, a Travis Knight helm film, did indeed do well. It didn't pull in as much as any of the previous 5 installments of the Transformers series, but a great reviews along word of mouth sold fans on the film, driving up the numbers to turn Paramount a profit. So on that steam, it was reported that Bumblebee would become a reboot of Transformers tellings, a kind of blueprint for future features to be carried forth in Bumblebee 2. Speaking to Cinema, the Bonaventura, the producer of all 5 Transformers movies, already did indeed confirm that a Bumblebee sequel is being made. As we have reported, interestingly enough, he also said that a film set in the main family series following the events of Transformers Last Night is being developed right now. Okay, now, once again, March 2019. Okay, here's an article from April 9th, 2019. So 1 month after that article was put out 2 years ago, here's a headline from DefPen: no sequel for Transformers The Last Night in development after all. However, recently Bonaventura was asked to clarify his comments. He had said that the current focus is on a script for a sequel to Bumblebee. Beyond that, he didn't offer much information on a future installment of the mainline series. When asked if the script would also serve as a sequel to The Last Night, he responded simply, no. So there is no follow-up to Transformers Last Night as of 2 years ago. However, here's this article, which I've already read before, but I actually didn't read the full art. I only read what Anthony Ramos said, but there's a part about Lorenzo de Bonaventura. This is also from MovieWeb. Transformers Rise of the Beast is very different, teases star Anthony Ramos. Now let's go to the quote from Lorenzo de Bonaventura. We are already working on 2 projects and both have scripts under development. De Bonaventura said in an interview with Japanese outlet Cinema, one is the latest in the main family series following the events of Transformers Last Night. And the other is a sequel to Bumblebee. So that's Transformers Rise of the Beast. So Transformers Rise of the Beast is the sequel. And then he said there's the latest in the main family series following the events of Transformers Last Night. So we are thinking of films where Optimus Prime and Bumblebee will be buddies, but when Optimus and Bumblebee are the movies of the protagonists, how human beings get involved in their drama in the first place, the size is different between human beings, and it's a worrying point. Okay, so I'm just right now in that quote, I'm just focused on 2 things: Bumblebee sequel, that's the Optimus Prime and Bumblebee buddy film, and then the main family, quote, following the events of Transformers Last Night. What is going on here? What is that film? Now, we do know that there is another film project that's not the animated Cybertron prequel that is going to be written by Marco Ramirez and directed by Angel Manuel Soto. Okay? We don't know anything about this new Transformers film, except that it's separate, completely separate from Transformers Rise of the Beasts. Is it going to be that follow-up to Transformers Last Night? There's no information on that. The only time there's been any connection that there's going to be a film being made, developed, that is a follow-up to Transformers Last Night, that was talked about in that article from June 21st on MovieWeb. I can't get much, like, I don't have any more details. We don't have any more details beyond that. But he said there's two scripts, two films being developed. Rise of the Beast is one of them, and then there's this one. And as far as I know, there's only one other film left. And there's Marco Ramirez as writer and Angel Manuel Soto as the director. There's that film. But what is that film? So that is a follow-up or like to Last Night, or is that a Transformers film, as in a non-Beast Wars film? Is that just a Transformers film that is not a Beast Wars film? Because it's too early to provide a sequel for Rise of the Beast because we don't even know if it's a success. So it's got to be a Transformers film set in the present day. Rise of the Beast is set in the 90s. Then there's the present day Transformers film. Okay, so yeah, what is going on here? I'm very confused, but I'm excited. More Transformers films, more excitement, more happiness. That's all I got to say about that. It's time to speculate what that's going to be about. I'm very, very excited. I mean, we already got a big film coming out, and that's Transformers: The Rise of the Beast. What other big story are they going to do? It's being developed right now as we speak, but it probably won't come out till 2025. After all, the animated Cybertron prequel is coming out on 2023. The Rise of the Beast comes out in 2022. So I think at the very earliest 2025, give it some time to, give it 2 years between Transformers films. The animated Cybertron film in 2023, give it 2 years. Let us, take a break. I know people want to see it as soon as 2024, but sometimes you need that break just to let the fans want more, and then you bring in that bigger box office. And I want to see a bigger box office. It's not just about me and what I want. I want to see a bigger box office for the studios so that it's successful to them and they'll continue making more films because of that. For me, it's all about quality. Quality over quantity. Okay, we know what happens when you put too much out there. The quality goes down. I need good quality, storytelling, and characters. Anyways, that's all I got to say in this episode. Thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned for more updates, and I'll see you next time. Peace.